And welcome back to Cooking with XL Bocephus. As you can see, I'm not in the appropriate attire to be cooking whatever I'm cooking today. So first, we must get into more appropriate clothes. And now that we're in appropriate attire, we can begin cooking. Today, we're making I wouldn't say world famous, but my famous spaghetti. And mainly, the main two concepts that go with my spaghetti is high protein and high calories, because I'm on a bulk this summer. Usually people cut in the summer, but I'm on a bulk. So if you see if I got a little pudge, don't worry about it. But today, we are working with big pot and little pot. In the big pot, we're gonna cook our meat down and add spaghetti sauce, and in the little pot, we're gonna add our noodles. The noodles I'll be using is not spaghetti noodles, it is protein noodles. They taste like regular pasta noodles, but they got a lot of protein in them. First things first, when you're cooking, you gotta have a nice beverage on the hand. So today we're cracking open a nice brewski, also known as a Pepsi Zero Sugar. Tastes the exact same as regular Pepsi, but 0 calories. And my pasta sauce I'll be using is Prego 3 cheese. You can really use whatever pasta sauce you like, or you can even make your own, but look at me. I'm not going to make my own pasta sauce and taste the exact same. But 3 cheese is pretty good. It gives it that cheesy taste. But I'm going to add Parmesan to it later. But let me get everything up to temp and start getting in the flow. To a pot, add a good little glug of cooking oil. It can be any kind. I like olive oil. And thanks to my father, he bought me this meat. This is just regular. I think it's 80-20 ground beef. And it's probably about 1.5 pounds, 2 pounds. But any meat you use is fine. You're gonna take a wooden spoon. You're gonna try to break it down. I got a little too hot, and it's popping on me right now. Well, just fight through the pain. I probably turn this down. But just break the meat down. In this other pot, get it to a boiling temp. You can see the redness of it. Try to get it to a roaring boil so we can add our pasta. Let's keep breaking this up until it becomes nice and brown. So my beef has now been browned, and we're gonna discard the excess grease that's coming off of it into the sink. But before you do that, you're gonna wanna run some hot water, super hot water. I've already got it at the temp. You're gonna run it under, but not in the colander that's in the sink. The way it's going down the drain, the water and the grease both going down at the same time, and hopefully it doesn't congeal, but hey, I don't live here, I pay rent here, so the landlord's gonna have to deal with it later if it fails. So, take your pot and just pour out the whole thing. Make sure you get every drop. We don't want excess grease because that makes my stomach hurt. You're gonna shake off the excess and then return to the pot. And then bring it back to the stove. And turn off the sink. And in here, we're gonna begin making our pasta. So our water is now up to boil. We're going to add a pinch of salt. This is kind of hard to do one-handed. Let me set it down real quick. Hang on. Up. There we go. Okay. And we're going to add our whole protein pasta in there. Whole thing. This is enough meal prep that you can eat on this for at least a good, if you make it stretch, 4 to 5 days. And I don't like to use excess dishes, so this part I'm using for the meat sauce, this part for the noodles. Oh, lost the noodles. Stir it up a little bit and wait for it to get back to a roar and simmer. And once the heat and the water gets into the noodles, they'll puff up. And then once they puff up, that's when you know they're done. But into this pot, we're adding our pasta sauce. We're going to turn down the temp a little bit. We just want a little bit of a simmer. And I like to get all the excess out of this, so I like to run a little bit of water in here. Stir it around, and then return to the pot. Okay. We're going to add salt, pepper, chili powder, a good little bit. I never measure, I just eyeball it. But once you get to know your spices, you can know like what you like a lot of, what you like a little of, what you don't need to use so much of. With chili powder, you can kind of go crazy on it on a spaghetti. It just adds that a little bit. Paprika. It's about to make me sneeze. At least I didn't sneeze in the food. Now this right here is foaming up. And a little trick is to set a wooden spoon on top of it so it doesn't boil over. I should probably turn it down too. Alright, paprika. Use a good little bit of that. I like a lot of paprika. Garlic powder. I would chop up an onion for this recipe, but I forgot to grab an onion when I was at the store, so that's okay. So we have minced onion. Minced onion makes it, I'm just being honest, makes the whole thing. Onion in general makes the whole thing. Good little bit, just eyeball it. Ain't gotta go too crazy on it. Italian seasoning. You cannot have my spaghetti recipe if you don't have Italian seasoning. You can come back later. And if you think you need something, the sauce needs something more, you can come back and add it later. Right now we're just letting this at a simmer and just let the flavors and the ingredients get to know each other. I'm going to add some garlic, but I need a spoon. And garlic is good too. You can add as much garlic as you want. It just makes it. One good little scoop. Two good little scoop. Three good little scoop. Stir this up. And just let the flavors get to know each other. It's a little bit runny, my sauce. Hang on, I'll show you. Sauce is a little bit runny, but once we add that pasta, the pasta will soak up some of that moisture in there. And as we just gradually let it simmer, it'll become a little bit thicker. I like my sauce a little bit thicker. And once we add Parmesan, that parm likes to soak up that moisture too. But here's our noodles, here's our sauce, and just let this cook down. So our pasta is getting to that point where it's about done. You see how it's definitely puffed up and taken in some of that moisture? And I'd say that's about done. So what you're gonna do is over here, in the same strainer you had earlier, you're gonna turn off the pot, come over here, and just pour it out. Okay. Shake off the excess, and you're gonna return it to the pasta pot. And you're going to incorporate the whole thing. This is kind of hard to do one-handed, I'm not gonna lie. But once you incorporate everything, just let that sit for another 5 minutes and then garnish with Parmesan, cheddar cheese, ketchup. I don't know. I don't put ketchup on my spaghetti, but I know some people do. But once you finish this, you're gonna wanna put it in meal prep containers, and you can eat on this for another 4 to 5 days. And it'll be pretty good. But this concludes Cooking with XL Bocephus. Tune in next week where we cook. I haven't decided what we're gonna cook yet, but tune in next week. Bye.
Pimp daddy cream cheese. Pimp daddy cream.